Today on the Morning Edition, the Bear Creek fire is still 0% contained and burning more than 26,000 acres. The focus over the next week is protecting structures and updating the community on weather conditions. And big decisions expected today from the U.S. Supreme Court. Rulings could impact everything from birthright citizenship to voting rights and parental controls in schools. And later,
it walked around on its hind legs, would have been quite a speedy runner.
it is a newly discovered speedy dinosaur unearthed in London. This ancient creature could have outrun predators 150 million years ago. As the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up, joining us here on a Friday. TGIF, you made it.
Finally.
Right?
I mean, the weekend right around the corner, we are going to see some rain in the forecast. But, I mean, as far as these cooler conditions we've been holding on to across South Central, they have allowed for us to see some sunshine breaks, which we did see into our Wednesday and Thursday. Today, though, we are going to hold on to a bit more in the way of those cloudier conditions. And we've also got a chance for some sprinkles, if not some light rain showers in the forecast for the first part of your Friday morning. Those temperatures, they are holding right around the lower 50s. The winds from yesterday as well as Wednesday, those have died down across South Central. In its place, though, we are seeing more rain building back in across the region. You can see limited sunshine to start off your Friday, 47 in Talkeetna, 42 degrees in Eureka. We've got coastal showers that remain with us, western parts of the Kenai as well as parts of the Anchorage Bowl. We do have just a sliver of some of that sprinkle activity to some light drizzle that is sticking around for the first part of your morning. Now, inland locations, we're not going to see much in the way of rain for your Friday, but we will see increasing rainfall potential into the weekend and early next week before we do begin to see some drier conditions. This comes from our area of low pressure, which is now just south of Kodiak, and that's leading to persistent flow coming in out of the south. That's pulling in that moisture that we're going to see to play with here over the next couple of days, with some of the heaviest rainfall likely occurring through Prince William Sound. And this is where we will have the potential for up to a half an inch, if not slightly higher amounts of rainfall accumulation as you head through parts of Prince William Sound. Notice western parts of the Kenai as well as into the valley, largely expected to stay on the dry side, but we will still see the potential for some passing showers into the weekend and early next week. Today on the cooler side as we climb into the low to mid 60s. We are also expecting to see that slow warming trend carry us into next week as the month of June comes to a close and we welcome in July. We may see some drier weather. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
In the last 12 hours or so, all of that moisture's kind of come to an end, and we're starting to get an increase in wind and some sunshine. So we're expecting fire activity to pick up a bit today and going into the next few days.
The Bear Creek fire is still burning northwest of Healy. Crews got a brief break from light rain, but with those dry conditions returning, the fire is far from over. Crews from across the state, including AFD, are on the ground working to contain it. The nearby St. George Creek fire is over 20,000 acres with more than 250 firefighters on the job, with more crews arriving every day. Adrian Peterson has an update from a special community meeting in Healy.
Here off the Parks Highway, just north of Healy, the Bear Creek fire has reached over 26,000 acres, forcing evacuations. Firefighters are now working to protect the structures that remain. This home is just one of hundreds they are working to protect from the flames. Officials are also working to inform the public with the latest updates. According to the Alaska Incident Management Team, operations also involve building a dozer line to prevent the fire from spreading. Meanwhile, the affected communities have come together to support those that have had to leave their homes and are now sheltered at Tri-Valley School.
You know, with the resources we have, we're stretched pretty thin, so we're doing the best we can. Our number one priority is, get those structures that have been impacted by the fire, getting in there, mopping up around them, and the structures that are outside the fire edge, doing the structure pro on it, getting sprinklers, opening up, getting defensible space. And it's a arduous task, but everyone's more than willing.
Fire behavior analysts say activity will likely remain low in the coming days as humidity has increased and scattered showers reduce the flammability of fuels in the area. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
The woman accused of driving under the influence and killing a cyclist on C Street was a no-show in court Thursday. Stephanie Dill, who posted a $10,000 bail, was not present at her hearing.
Hi, we're looking for Stephanie?
No, she's not here right now.
No?
Hi. Yeah, she's not here.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's what Alaska's News Source heard when we went to get a comment from her registered address. Family members of Radames Rodriguez Perez, the man prosecutors say Dill struck and killed, did attend the hearing. They say Perez was on a work visa from Mexico, employed as a waiter, and pursuing American citizenship when he was killed while talking to his mother on the side of the road. The family declined to speak on camera, but did share letters honoring him. Dill's next hearing is set for July 31st. Flames broke out at a homeless camp at Anchorage at Chester Creek. The fire was smaller near the trail system with flames that were about 5 feet high. We're told the fire crew who put it out had just recently finished a wildfire refresher course. It's been about 6 months, but police identified the suspect who slammed a truck into a downtown restaurant. Quinn White spoke with the restaurant manager, who says they're only a few weeks away from being back inside the building.
Police records show that Robert Miller was driving nearly 80 miles an hour down Fifth Avenue when he crashed here into the Palmini building. Now, since it's happened, they've been having to serve dumplings out of a tent next door.
Holy. It's actually pretty surprising how many people were supporting us. People I'd never met were coming up to me and asking me about what's going on. They're sorry for us, and the town's been awesome. It's pretty surprising.
Charging documents indicate 41-year-old Robert Miller was driving someone else's vehicle, who was under the impression it was in the shop. Officers found cocaine and fentanyl inside, as well as drops of blood that are a DNA match for Miller.
Miller has not been located yet. We do have a warrant out for his arrest. We are asking the public, if anybody knows where his whereabouts, to please give us a call at 311, because we would like to find him and give him a ride.
The restaurant estimates it lost about $25,000 in revenue before they were able to start its pop-up location next door, according to charging documents. But now the Palmini team is only weeks away from being able to cook indoors again.
Getting pretty excited as the walls come through and the ceiling gets back on. It's starting to feel more like home that we're used to.
Yeah.
So we might have a new floor, but it's going to be the same thing.
The owner of the Palmini joint tells me that they're hoping to be back inside and cooking sometime next month, but it might be a while until they're ready to invite customers back inside while they work to replace these big windows. I'm Quinn White, Alaska's News Source.
Robert Miller is charged with first and third degree assault, criminal mischief, 2 counts of leaving the scene of an accident, misconduct involving a controlled substance, and reckless driving. His bail is set at $10,000 cash appearance and $10,000 cash performance. In Capitol coverage this morning, Governor Dunleavy vetoes Alaska's Payday Loan Bill. Lawmakers say 15,000 Alaskans take out 5 of what are supposed to be short-term loans every year. They often have extremely high interest rates. The legislation proposed mandatory 36% interest limits with small loans under $500, which currently have no limits. Bill supporters say that's a problem that can lead to anywhere from 200 to 500% interest. In his veto, the governor said there'd be issues enforcing the policy and argue it would be adding more costs to the state.
Going to assume and guess that the enforcement challenges could be exactly what I was talking about, that we would not have that control if these payday lenders were not in our country and they are out of country. And I'm assuming that, but I that's the conversation that we actually had during, the process of the bill. And again, I think he hits it right. I
really believe in empowering the finances of individuals in order for folks to uplift themselves out of poverty. And payday loans are so predatory on low-income individuals. And oftentimes people are caught up in a cycle of taking out another loan to pay back the debt from their last loan. And it doesn't do anyone any good to be able to help someone pay their actual bills or whatever
Lawmakers who spoke to Alaska's news source said it's unlikely this bill will be overridden in January. Governor Dunleavy also using his veto power on state funding, and it's affecting rural school districts. The REAA Fund, it helps rural schools pay for construction and maintenance fees. Sitka Representative Rebecca Himshoot says under the current law, Mount Edgecombe High School can't get those funds because it gets funding from the Department of Transportation and Public Facilities. Governor Dunleavy said the veto came because he felt the Mount Edgecombe project did not have specific deadlines and added what he called ongoing operating costs to the state. The bill passed almost the legislature unanimously.
Again, when the legislature speaks with such a unified voice, I would like that to carry weight with the governor. I also understand there are a lot of needs in the state. This, I think, was a way to more creatively use the funds we do have and to focus a little bit more on our rural schools.
If votes stay the same, this bill would survive a veto override, but that's unlikely to happen before session starts in January. A remarkable honor for an Alaska Native woman who's been named the Orthodox Church's first female saint from North America. According to the Associated Press, Olga Michael, a Yupik woman from Alaska, was a midwife, mother of 13, and wife of an Orthodox priest. She was known as Matushka, a spiritual mother to many, and was widely recognized for her quiet compassion, supporting women who had suffered miscarriage, abuse, and loss. She died in 1979 at age 63. You can read more about her life and sainthood on our website. Coming up, a Cold War secret hidden beneath Kincaid Park. Few have ever seen inside, but a rare tour just opened the doors to a once top-secret bunker.
We do have some sprinkles and light rain showers across parts of South Central. Those will increase into the weekend. I'll have more on that. But first at sunrise, 424 in Anchorage, 516 in Bethel. The full forecast is next.
And good Friday morning, everyone. We are back giving you a live look there at Walrus Island. This sanctuary is about 65 miles southwest of Dillingham and Aaron. Since the bears at Katmai are kind of sleepy this early, we said, hey, why not show some walruses?
Look at all those birds, too. Hey, you know where the walruses like to go to the movies?
Why?
No, do you know where they like to go?
Where do they like?
Yeah.
No.
A dive-in. So, yeah, I'll be here all morning.
That's a good one.
Still holding on to some of those rain showers across South Central. We are going to continue to hold on to some of these cooler conditions as well. In fact, for the month of June as a whole, even with that warm stretch we did see last week, the monthly temperature is sitting at 53.2 degrees. This is about 2.3 degrees below where we typically see June. And this is the coolest June since about 2008. And we are going to see a slow warming trend take hold as we welcome in next week. Now, this is the second consecutive month with below average temperatures. You can see as we went through our winter months as well as our spring months, those temperatures remained above average. We're currently sitting at the 7th warmest year to date with an average temperature of 36.9 degrees. We are still holding on to some of these cooler conditions across the state. Near freezing along the slope, 44 in Bethel with some areas of fog, 52 here in Anchorage. Rain building back in across southeast, and of course the Aleutians. While some spot showers are to be expected today, that ridge is steadily building back in across the Aleutians, and that's going to lead to a lot quieter activity into the weekend. But as far as this morning, we do have an area of low pressure out towards the southern Seward coastline, or southern Seward Peninsula coastline, that's keeping some rain in the forecast. Just very isolated, scattered activity, and of course the Gulf Coast region for both South Central and Southeast continues to hold on to that rainfall. And there's that ridge you can see out towards the western Aleutians. That's going to continue to steadily build east into the weekend, leading to a lot quieter conditions for the Aleutians, with the exception of some foggy conditions that will likely occur each and every morning. So we're still holding on to the rain across South Central. That's going to steadily build in throughout the day. Of course, coastal regions will see that better chance. Inland areas, we may just see some sprinkles to some light drizzle activity through the rest of our Friday. Now, as we welcome in Saturday, we'll begin to watch this system pulling in plenty of moisture from the east. It's going to be moving from east to west. You can see some increasing rain rain Saturday night into our Sunday and potentially carrying us into Monday as well. Now, not everyone is going to see rain, but we will see increased potential for some rain showers as we welcome in the weekend. We'll also still hold on to at least some isolated to scattered thunderstorms in some of the higher terrain around Fairbanks. But you can see holding on to those warmer conditions. Temperatures steadily warming back into the mid to upper 70s for the interior. We'll also see some hazy conditions sticking around and a lot more improved air quality. 42 for the high today in Utqiagvik, 54 in Cold Bay. Still holding on to a good chunk of the state with some cloudy conditions. However, as you head through the interior and areas out west, we will see a decent shot for at least some peaks of sunshine. Not so much here in South Central as we do have that low in the Gulf Coast region that is going to keep clouds and a chance for some showers in the forecast. Highs today in the 50s and the 60s. We may make a run near 70 into the Copper River Basin. We're at 71 degrees for the high today in Golcana. And then into the valley, we've got those temperatures mid to upper 60s. Still seeing the flood advisory out towards the Matanuska River in Butte. We are going to continue to see the temperatures slowly warming here across South Central. While we're at 63 degrees today, we begin that warming period as we welcome in next week. A brief cool down arriving with that rain that we will see through the weekend. You can see dropping down into the upper 50s by Sunday. So, yeah, June has been on the cool side. We'll certainly have to see what July holds as we officially welcome it in next week.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. It's a hidden piece of Anchorage history tucked beneath Kincaid Park, and it was unearthed to a group of a few dozen people Thursday. Joe Allgood was on the expedition and takes us back in time to the Cold War era's history, and the relics it left behind are closer than one might think.
Amidst the rolling hills and winding trails of Kincaid Park lies a secret past.
Walk around to the back, and we'll show you where the rails are, where the missiles came out.
Well, not so secret anymore.
Kincaid Park is a great example of swords into plowshares.
The bunkers of Kincaid have stood for nearly 70 years, but for some, like veteran Lance Morgan, the area is better known as Sight Point.
16 Bravos, we were pit rats. We got the name pit rats because in the lower 48, everything was underground.
The Nike missiles Morgan worked with were a nuclear deterrent designed to intercept Soviet bombers. Thankfully, it never came to that.
Basically, that's why Nike represents victory. So it was victory for us, victory for Russia. Nobody was, it was never fired.
Though there was a close call during the earthquake of 1964.
The fuel cracked open, and these brave servicemen that were there worked for 72 hours to carefully take apart the missiles so that they did not explode.
After receiving medals for their actions, they were unable to publicly discuss what they were for until 2014.
Donald Dukes, who was the commander here of the site then, said that he went on to Vietnam after here, and he was with the Rangers. I think he was in military intelligence with the Rangers in Vietnam. He said nothing came close in Vietnam to the terror he experienced here during the earthquake. So that says something.
And Donahue grew up near the missile site and recalls seeing armed patrols with dogs along the fence line.
People in my generation grew up with that fear. We had air raid sirens, we had drills. We thought that we would get bombed by the Russians. And I think we need to remember how close we came in the 60s.
Thursday's tour, offered by the Anchorage Museum, garnered the interest of over 3,200 people, and only a dozen got to actually do it. So if you missed it, don't worry. They're hoping to offer the same tour at some point again in the future. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.